If you knew you only had 24 hours to live, would you spend that time worrying about what other people think of you? About that bill that's due next week? About that argument you had yesterday? Of course not. But here's the secret that few discover. You are already living your last 24 hours. Not literally, but very real. And at the end of this video, I'll reveal how this awareness can free you from 90% of your daily worries. Before we continue this journey together, subscribe to the channel, because this message is not just for you, it is to create a movement of collective awakening. Each person who receives this wisdom becomes an agent of transformation in the world. And you, yes, you who are listening to me now, will be part of this silent revolution of consciousness. My dear friend, have you ever noticed how your mind works? Right now, as you listen to me, part of it is already planning what it will do after this video. Another part may be revisiting a conversation from yesterday or anticipating a meeting tomorrow. This is the human drama. We live everywhere but where we are, and it is precisely this restlessness that robs us of the peace we so desperately seek. Let me share with you the story of Ananda, a young businessman I met in my teachings many years ago. He would come to me with his face etched with anxiety, his hands constantly restless. "Master," he would say, "I am so afraid of losing my business, my family, my health. How can I live in peace?" When I looked into Ananda's eyes, I saw you. I saw myself. I saw all of us, because the anguish he carried is the same anguish that beats in the heart of all humanity. You see, the human mind is like a monkey hopping from branch to branch in an infinite forest. It never stops. It never rests. It leaps from past to future, from fear to expectation, from guilt to anxiety. And we, poor us, follow this monkey wherever it leads, believing we are this frenetic movement. But tell me, honestly, how many nights have you lost sleep worrying about something that it could happen? How many times has your heart raced thinking about scenarios your mind created but which never came true? How many tears have you shed over losses that haven't even happened yet? As the philosopher Montaigne said, "My life has been full of terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened." And perhaps you're smiling now, recognizing this painful truth in your own life. Understand, dear, your brain isn't broken. It's functioning exactly as it was programmed millions of years ago. And understanding this is the first step to your liberation. Our ancestors needed to anticipate dangers, the roar of a predator, an approaching storm. Those who couldn't anticipate threats didn't survive to pass on their genes. This is the legacy we carry. But today, this same mechanism treats an unanswered email as if it were a saber-toothed tiger. It treats a change of plans as if it were a matter of life or death. Your reptilian brain can't distinguish between real and imagined danger. And this is where our journey of transformation begins, because once you understand the mechanism, you can begin to transcend it. Now, let me tell you something that may sound harsh, but is the most liberating truth you'll ever hear. Everything you care so much about is already changing, right now. Feel this with me. Your body is aging. Your cells are dying and being born. Your thoughts are transforming. The people around you are changing. The world is spinning. Nothing, absolutely nothing, stays the same. This realization may be frightening at first, but it carries within it the seed of the deepest freedom. There was a man who went to the same river every day to drink. One day, a wise man passed by and asked, "Why do you always come to the same river?" The man replied, "Because it's my favorite river, always the same, always reliable." The wise man smiled tenderly. "My friend, you have never drunk from the same river twice. Every moment, new waters flow. The river of yesterday is gone forever. The river of tomorrow has not yet arrived. You can only drink from the river of now." And so it is with everything in your life. This is the first truth I want to engrave on your heart. Anicca, impermanence. Everything changes, always, without exception. That worry eating away at you inside, it too will change. That problem that seems gigantic, it too will pass. That pain that seems eternal, it too will transform. But here's the paradox that will change your perspective. We suffer not because things change, but because we resist change. It's like trying to hold water in your closed hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it runs through your fingers. Stop for a moment with me. Breathe deeply. Feel your chest rising and falling. Every breath you just took will never come back. Every beat of your heart is unique, unrepeatable. You are witnessing impermanence happening within you right now. How does this make you feel? Scared or liberated? My dear friend, I want you to understand something fundamental that connects us all. You don't suffer because you lose things. You suffer because you cling to them. Upanana. That's the term we use. Attachment. It's like having your hand stuck to something hot. The pain doesn't come from the object itself, but from our inability to let go. And all of us, without exception, know this pain. Let me share something intimate from my own journey. When I left the palace in search of truth, I left behind Yasodhara, my wife. She suffered immensely, not because she loved me any less, but because I was attached to the idea of what our life should be. Years later, when we met again, she told me something I never forgot. "Siddhartha, I suffered more for the future I imagined losing than for the present I was living." And perhaps you're recognizing this pattern in your own life. How many times have you suffered more from the stories you told about how your life should be than from the life you are actually living? Imagine with me that you have a handful of sand in your open hands. The sand sits there undisturbed, but if you close your fist tightly, trying to make sure no grains escape, what happens? The sand flows even faster, and your hands tense and ache. It's the same with everything in life: relationships, health, success, youth. The more you try to control and secure, the more you suffer. The more you cling, the more you lose the ability to truly appreciate. Now, I'm going to reveal something to you that could shake everything you believe about yourself. Pay close attention, because this could change your life forever. That person you call me, that voice in your head that worries, that plans, that suffers, it doesn't exist the way you think it does. Don't be scared. Let me explain with an image that will touch your heart. You are like a river. At first glance, it always seems to be the same river. It has the same name, the same banks, the same course. But the water flowing in this moment is never the same as it was a second ago. The river is a process, not a thing, a constant flow, not a fixed entity. That's you. Your thoughts change every second. Your emotions flow like waves. Your cells constantly renew themselves. Your memories transform each time you revisit them. Where is the fixed you in all of this? There was a king who lived in terror of death. He consulted many wise men until one of them brought him a mirror broken into 1,000 pieces. "Your Majesty," this wise man said, "when this mirror was whole, it reflected your image. Now, in pieces, each fragment still reflects something. Tell me, which piece is the true mirror?"
The king was confused. "Master, there is no piece that is the mirror. The mirror was the function of reflecting, not the pieces themselves." "Exactly," the sage smiled compassionately. "And you, Your Majesty, are like that mirror. You are not a solid I that can die, but a set of processes that reflect life. How can something die that was never born as a fixed entity?" Modern neuroscience confirms this ancient wisdom. There is no command center in your brain where the you resides. Your consciousness emerges from the interaction of billions of neurons, like a symphony emerges from the coordination of individual instruments. And when you understand this deeply, not just intellectually, but in your cells, something miraculous happens. You stop taking your worries so personally. That anxious voice in your head that says, "What if I lose my job?" It's not you. It's just a conditioned thought pattern passing through consciousness, like a cloud passing through the sky. The sky doesn't care about the clouds that pass by. It simply watches them come and go. And you can do the same with your thoughts and worries. Now that you understand that worry is just a mental habit, not your identity, I'll teach you how to break this habit practically. This will connect you not only to yourself, but to the peace that's always been available. The most powerful tool you have is something that has always been with you: your attention. Your attention is like a flashlight in a dark cave. Wherever you shine the light, it becomes real to you. If you point it at your fears, they come to life and feed on your energy. If you point it at the present moment, peace emerges naturally. Most people don't realize they have control over this flashlight. They let it automatically point at any scary shadow that appears, but you can learn to direct it consciously. Let's do an exercise together right now. It's not theory. It's transformative practice that will connect you to something bigger. Stop listening to me for a moment and pay attention to your breathing. Don't force anything. Just observe it gently. Feel the air entering your nostrils, expanding your chest, and leaving naturally. Did you notice what happened? For a few seconds, your worries simply disappeared. Not because you fought them, but because your attention was elsewhere. They were still there, like clouds in the sky, but you were no longer identified with them. This reminds me of the story of a woodcutter who spent days chopping down a tree with a dull axe. A traveler passed by and asked, "Why don't you sharpen your axe?" The woodcutter, sweaty and tired, replied, "I don't have time to sharpen it. I need to cut down this tree." That's how we are with our minds. We spend so much time lost in worries that we don't even take 5 minutes to sharpen our awareness through mindfulness. Studies show that just 8 weeks of mindfulness practice significantly reduces activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and anxiety. Your mind physically changes when you train your attention. But more important than science is your direct experience. When you are genuinely present, it is impossible to worry. Worry only exists in the past, regret, or the future, anxiety, never in the now. Here's my challenge for you, a way to start your transformation today. For the next 3 days, every time you notice yourself worrying, stop and take 3 conscious breaths, just 3, without judging the worry, without trying to eliminate it. Simply return your attention to the present. You'll be surprised at what you discover. Most of your worries are like mirages in the desert. They seem real from a distance, but disappear when you approach with awareness. My dear friend, there's a world of difference between understanding intellectually that everything changes and feeling that truth in every cell of your body. This is where true transformation happens. Vipassana, insight meditation, is the practice that transforms theoretical knowledge into lived wisdom. It is the bridge between knowing something and being transformed by that knowledge. It's like the difference between knowing that ice melts and actually seeing an ice cube turn into water in your hands. One thing is a concept, another is direct experience. And when you live that experience, it changes not only how you think, but who you are. When you truly feel impermanence happening moment to moment, something extraordinary happens. You stop resisting life and begin to flow with it, like a dance where you finally learn to follow the rhythm of the music. I'll guide you through a simple yet revolutionary practice. You can do it right now or save it for when you're alone, but promise yourself you'll do it. Sit comfortably. Gently close your eyes. Begin by observing your physical sensations. Notice how they arise, intensify, and disappear. Nothing stays the same, not even for a second. Now observe your thoughts with loving curiosity. See how they appear out of nowhere, gain strength, and dissolve like bubbles on the surface of a lake. Observe your emotions without getting lost in them. Even the most intense ones are like waves. They arise, grow, and inevitably break on the shore of consciousness. When you develop this practice, something beautiful happens. You develop an unshakable trust in impermanence. You know, not just believe, that this too shall pass, whether pleasure or pain, success or failure. This trust is more valuable than all the gold in the world. It's the difference between being swept away by life's waves and surfing them with grace and wisdom.
Let me share an intimate moment from my own journey. When I stood beneath the Bodhi tree on the night of my awakening, I faced all the demons of the human mind: fear, desire, anger, despair. But instead of fighting them, I simply watched them arise and pass. Mara, The demon of illusion cried out, "You cannot win! These fears are yours forever." I replied calmly, with the compassion of one who understands. They may be visitors, but they are not my owners. I watch them arrive, I host them conscientiously, and I watch them leave. Nothing more. That morning, I realized that we are the space where experiences happen, not the experiences themselves. And that same realization is available to you. Now we get to the heart of transformation. I'll teach you the most powerful question you can ask when worry knocks on your door. A question that has the power to instantly change your relationship with suffering. Panya, wisdom, is not about accumulating knowledge. It's about knowing how to ask the right questions at the right time. And that question can set you free today. When you catch yourself worrying, stop everything and ask yourself honestly, is this worry really worth my suffering? Don't answer quickly. Investigate like a detective would a clue. Dive deeply into the question. Feel it resonate in your heart. A wise merchant, before making any investment, asks, is the return worth the risk? You need to be a wise merchant of your mental and emotional energy. What return is your worry giving you? Is it solving anything? Is it preventing any real problems? Or is it just draining your vitality like a leak in a barrel? And here's something that will forever change how you deal with life's challenges. There are only 3 types of problems in the universe, just 3, and each has its own specific answer. First, problems you can solve now. For these, stop worrying and take action. Action is the antidote to anxiety. Movement cures mental paralysis. Second, problems you can solve but not right now. For these, make a plan and let go. Write down what needs to be done and when, then free your mind for other things. Third, problems you can't solve in any way. For these, there is only one wise response: radical acceptance. And not defeated acceptance, but powerful acceptance. A farmer looked up at the cloudy sky, worried about whether it would rain or not. His wise neighbor said, "Friend, can you make it rain?" "Of course not," the farmer replied. "Can you stop it from raining?" "Neither can you." "Then why waste your precious mental energy on something that is completely beyond your control? Prepare for both possibilities and live in peace. Now, pause for a moment. Think about something that's been worrying you lately. Be honest with me and with yourself. Which of the 3 categories does it fall into? If it's category 1, stop worrying and take action. If it's category 2, make a plan and let go. If it's category 3, practice acceptance. Sounds simple? It is, but simple doesn't mean easy. It takes courage to be honest about what you can and can't control. And that courage, my friend, is what separates those who suffer needlessly from those who live in peace. Now I'll reveal a secret few discover. The quickest way to free yourself from your own worries is to help someone else's with theirs. It's a spiritual alchemy that turns lead into gold. Metta, loving compassion, is not just a pretty virtue. It's a spiritual technology that dissolves suffering. It's a healing path that connects you with the heart of humanity. When you light a candle to illuminate someone else's path, who receives the light first? You. Compassion works like this. By healing others, you heal yourself. By offering peace, you become more peaceful. Let me tell you a story that touched my heart deeply. A woman came to me carrying the body of her dead son, begging me to resurrect him. Her tears were a river of pain that touched my soul. I said tenderly, "Bring me mustard seeds from a house where there has never been death, and I will do as you ask." She went from house to house, searching desperately. At each door, she found families who had lost someone. As she heard their stories, something miraculous began to happen. Her own grief began to transform into compassion. When she returned, she didn't bring mustard seeds, but something far more valuable: the profound understanding that suffering is universal and that she was not alone in it. Her pain didn't diminish, but expanded into love for all suffering humanity. Your worries make you feel isolated, as if you're the only one in the world struggling. But when you reach out to help someone, you realize a liberating truth. We're all in the same boat called humanity. We all know fear. We all carry insecurities. We all face loss. And when you acknowledge this, your personal pain becomes a bridge to connect with others. Here's an exercise that will change your life. Every time you catch yourself worrying too much about yourself, find someone to help. It doesn't have to be something grand: a genuine smile, a word of encouragement, a gesture of kindness. You'll discover that it's impossible to be simultaneously focused on serving others and consumed by personal concerns. It's like trying to look in two directions at once. Your mind can't handle it. There's a strange mathematics in the realm of compassion. When you give love, instead of having less, you have more. When you share peace, instead of not having peace, you become more peaceful. Why? Because compassion connects you to something bigger than your personal problems. It reminds you of who you truly are beyond your temporary concerns. It connects you to the beating heart of existence. Now, I want to turn everything you've been taught about impermanence on its head. Most people think that if everything passes, nothing has meaning. I'll show you the exact opposite. Why is a diamond precious? Because it's rare and doesn't last forever in your hands. If diamonds were infinite and indestructible, they would be like pebbles on the street, no special value. Your life is infinitely more precious than any diamond. And it is precisely because it is temporary that each moment shines with unique meaning. Each breath is an unrepeatable miracle.
Here's the paradox that will change your perspective. When you truly accept that everything is temporary, you can finally love without fear. When you accept that you will lose everything, you can finally appreciate everything with full intensity. It's like being in a museum, knowing your visit has a deadline. You don't get depressed because you can't take the works home. You focus on contemplating each one with full attention, knowing this moment is unique. I once knew a gardener who tended a magnificent garden. His flowers were a spectacle of color and fragrance. Someone asked, "Doesn't it sadden you to know these flowers will wilt?" He smiled, his eyes shining. "Quite the opposite. It is because they will wither that I cherish them so intensely today. If they were eternal, I could always admire them tomorrow. Since they are ephemeral, I love them completely now. Think about the people you love, the work you do, the experiences you have. They are all temporary. They will all pass. They are all unique gifts that life offers you. Does it make you sad, or does it inspire you to live them with more intensity, presence, and gratitude? Impermanence creates a sacred urgency, not the neurotic urgency of those who fear, but the loving urgency of those who value. Like someone who knows they have limited time in a wonderful city and wants to see everything with contemplative eyes. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine you have only 1 year to live. Feel that in your heart. How does this change your priorities? What do you stop worrying about? What do you focus on? Now open your eyes and understand this profound truth. You've always had only a limited amount of time. The only difference is that now you're aware of it. This awareness shouldn't terrify you. It should free you to live authentically, love deeply, and contribute meaningfully. It should awaken you to the magic of being alive. We've reached the most delicate and powerful moment of this journey, learning the art of letting go. And letting go, my dear friend, is an act of profound love. Letting go doesn't mean not caring. It means caring deeply, but without clinging desperately. It's loving with open hands. Imagine you're holding an injured bird. If you close your hands too tightly, you'll hurt it. If you open them too tightly, it might fall. The art is keeping your hands open just right, firm enough to provide security, open enough to allow freedom. So it is with everything in life: relationships, dreams, health, success. A hand that's open just right, a heart that cares without possessing. There is a prayer that sums up all wisdom. May I have the serenity to accept what I cannot change, the courage to change what I can, and the wisdom to distinguish between the two. But I would add a line that comes from the heart. And may I have enough love to release what needs to be released at the right time with gratitude. When I left my real family to seek awakening, the hardest moment was watching my son Rahula sleep. Every fiber of my being wanted to stay, to hold him forever, to protect him from all suffering. But I realized something profound. The greatest gift I could give him was not my constant physical presence, but discovering and sharing the path to an end to human suffering. Letting go wasn't abandonment, it was the greatest act of love. Years later, when we met again, he understood and followed the same path of liberation. He thanked me for having the courage to let go. Now I ask your heart directly, what do you need to let go of today? What worry, what fear, what need of control is keeping you from living fully? You don't have to let it all out at once. Start with a small worry. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, let it go. Not with anger or frustration, but with kindness, like releasing a colorful balloon so it dances in the wind. Letting go is an act of faith in life. It's trusting that you can navigate the waters of uncertainty. It's knowing your strength lies not in control, but in flow. My dear friend, there is a place within you where no worries can enter, a sacred sanctuary that is always available, always peaceful, always untouched by the fears of the mind. And this place is closer to you than your own breath. That place is the present moment. Here's a truth that may sound strange at first, but will prove liberating. In the present moment, you never have problems. You have situations, circumstances, challenges, but never problems in the sense of something that tortures you mentally. Problems only exist when your mind wanders to the past or future. In the pure now, there is only what is, and what is can always be accepted, worked through, or contemplated with peace. Imagine a pilot flying through a storm. The turbulence is intense, the plane rocks, the passengers are nervous. But he knows that above the clouds there is always blue sky and a bright sun. No matter how intense the storm, he has a refuge. He can rise above it. You also have this refuge. No matter how intense the mental storm of worries, you can always rise to the present moment where the natural peace of consciousness reigns. Let's practice together now. Stop thinking about any problems for a few seconds. Instead, come with me to this moment. Feel your feet touching the ground. Notice the air entering and leaving your lungs. Listen to the sounds around you without judging them. Feel the temperature on your skin. Where did your worries go? They weren't destroyed. They simply lost their power when you withdrew your attention from them. Like ghosts that only exist when you believe in them. Whenever you feel yourself getting swept away by the current of worries, use your breath as an anchor. 3 conscious breaths are enough to bring you back to the safe harbor of the present moment.
It's not escapism, it's a spiritual strategy. You return to center so you can act from clarity, not confusion, from love, not fear. Once, a young monk was crossing a bridge when a terrible storm began. Terrified, he ran back and forth, looking for somewhere to hide, growing increasingly desperate. An elderly monk, sitting calmly in the center of the bridge, called to him in a calm voice, "Come here, son." "Master, can't you see we are in danger?" "That's exactly why you should come to the center. At the ends, you will be swept away by the winds. In the center, there is stability." The present moment is the center of the bridge of life. It's always the safest place to be, no matter what storm is raging around you. It's where you find your true strength. Now I'm going to teach you something few masters share: how to transform your deepest fear into your greatest source of compassion, how to alchemize suffering into wisdom. Every fear you feel has been felt by millions before you and will be felt by millions after you. When you understand this viscerally, when you feel it in your heart, your personal pain becomes a bridge to universal understanding. The best healers are those who know pain intimately, not because they've become numb to it, but because they've learned to transform it into medicine for others. Their wound becomes a source of healing. Your anxiety about the future connects you with everyone who has ever felt that same uncertainty. Your fear of loss unites you with everyone you have ever loved deeply. Your feelings of inadequacy make you a brother to every human being who has ever doubted themselves. The next time intense worry strikes, try this revolutionary exercise that will change how you relate to pain. Number 1. First, feel the worry fully. Don't suppress it. Give it space. Number 2. Then, expand your awareness. How many people right now are feeling something similar? Number 3. Mentally send a message of understanding to all these people. May we all find peace. May we all be free from suffering. Number 4. Notice how your personal pain transforms into universal compassion, how it connects you instead of isolating you. I remember a woman who lost her son and came to me in utter despair. Buddha, she cried out in heartbreaking pain, "How can I bear this agony?" I took her to a cemetery and said gently, "Look at all these graves. Each one represents a heart that was broken like yours. Each one represents a mother, a father, a son who felt your same pain." She looked around, and gradually her individual grief expanded into compassion for all suffering humanity. Different tears began to well up, tears of connection, not isolation. "Now I understand," she whispered. "My pain doesn't separate me from others. It connects me with them. I'm not alone in this suffering." There is a sacred mathematics in suffering. When you multiply your personal pain by the understanding that it is universal, the result is no longer pain. It is wisdom and compassion. Your fears aren't your flaws. They're a part of the shared human experience. When you understand this, you stop fighting them and start transforming them into medicine for the world. Breathe your worries inward, imagining you're breathing in the worries of all beings. Breathe peace outward, sending relief to all who suffer as you do. This practice, called Tonglen, transforms you from a victim of your emotions to a healer for the world, from isolated to connected, from wounded to healer. The time has come to fully wake up, to stop rehearsing for life and start living it with complete authenticity. If you truly understand that life is temporary, that every moment is unique and irretrievable, that your worries are mostly shadows created by the mind, then tell me, what are you waiting for to live with total truth? If you knew you had exactly 1 year to live, you would continue worrying about the opinions of people who don't even truly care about you? Putting off important conversations your heart yearns to have? Hiding your gifts for fear of others' judgment? Living the life others expect instead of the life your soul yearns for? I once knew an actor who spent so much time playing different characters that he forgot who he really was. On stage, he shone, received applause, and felt alive. Off stage, he felt lost, always trying to please life's imaginary audience. One day, alone in his dressing room after a particularly acclaimed performance, he looked in the mirror and a question arose from the depths of his soul. Who am I when I'm not trying to be what others want? That question changed his life. He discovered that his authenticity was far more interesting, far more touching than any character he could play. And here's a truth that can set you free today. Every day you live trying to be someone you're not, you rob the world of the gift of who you truly are. And you rob yourself of the joy of living in harmony with your true nature. Excessive worry is often a symptom of inauthenticity.
When you're aligned with your true purpose, you still face challenges, but you're not consumed by empty anxieties. There's a peace that comes from alignment. Being authentic requires the courage to be vulnerable, to show your imperfections, to admit when you don't know, to love without guarantees, to dream without certainties, to be fully human. But here's the most beautiful paradox. When you have the courage to be vulnerable, you discover you're much stronger than you imagined. When you stop trying to control how others see you, you discover a freedom you never knew existed. For a week, try this transformative experiment. In every interaction, ask yourself, am I being myself right now, or am I acting out who I think I should be?
Not to judge yourself, but to awaken. To realize how many masks you wear unnecessarily. To discover the lightness that comes from simply being who you are. The greatest regret at the end of life is never about the mistakes we made while being authentic. It's about the chances we didn't take, the words we didn't say, the dreams we didn't pursue out of fear. Your authentic life is waiting for you to stop worrying so much and start living truly. Now, I want to touch on what really matters when everything else passes. The legacy you leave in people's hearts and in the fabric of existence. When you deeply understand impermanence, you realize that the only thing that truly endures is the love you share and the awareness you awaken in others. You are like a wave in the ocean of existence. The individual wave emerges, dances for a moment, and returns to the ocean. But the movement it created continues to influence other waves infinitely. This is your true legacy. Every act of kindness, every moment of genuine presence, every word of encouragement you offer creates ripples that touch other lives in ways you can't even imagine. I met a teacher who lived very simply, never seeking fame or recognition. He simply taught with love, treated everyone with compassion, and lived his principles silently. His life was a prayer in action. When he died, hundreds of people came to honor him. Each one recounted how his presence had transformed their lives. He never knew the impact he had. He was too busy living purposefully to care about recognition. Do you want to be immortal? Not through fame or fortune, which are temporary like autumn leaves, but through the love you plant in hearts, the wisdom you share, the peace you transmit by example. Every person you touch authentically carries a part of you forever. Every life you positively influence multiplies your impact across generations. It's an immortality far more real than any monument. Pause for a moment and reflect with an open heart. If your life were to end today, what seeds of goodness would you leave behind? What example of how to live would you have set? It's not a morbid reflection, it's a liberating one. When you live mindfully and consciously, aware of the legacy you're building each day, your trivial concerns lose power and your actions take on profound meaning. You have a sacred responsibility in this world to be the most truthful, compassionate, and awakened person you can be, not through impossible perfection, but through loving contribution.
Every moment of peace you find amidst chaos inspires others to seek their own. Every time you choose love over fear, you make love more possible for everyone. Your personal concerns are small compared to this wonderful responsibility. You are here for something greater than your individual fears. You are here to heal and be healed. We now arrive at the most sacred territory of all, radical acceptance. Not the passive resignation of someone who gives up, but the active acceptance that transforms lead into gold, suffering into wisdom. Here is something that will shock your conditioned mind. What you resist most is exactly what you need to accept to be free. Your greatest worries are gateways to your greatest liberation. Imagine a river trying to flow against a giant boulder. It can expend all its energy struggling, creating turbulence and foam, noise and chaos. Or it can accept the boulder, flow around it, and continue on its way in peace. The stone doesn't disappear with acceptance, but the suffering caused by resistance does. And often we discover that the stone was there to teach us a new way to flow. When Mara, the embodiment of all temptations and fears, appeared during my awakening, my first reaction was resistance. Go away, you are not welcome here. But then I realized something profound that changed everything. I looked directly at Mara and said with compassion, I see you, Mara. I acknowledge your presence. You can sit with me, but you cannot control me. In that moment of radical acceptance, Mara lost all power over me, not because he disappeared, but because I stopped feeding him with my resistance. With your worries, try the same transformative approach. 1. Recognition. I see you, worry. You're here. 2. Acceptance. I accept that you exist in this moment. 3. Non-identification. But you are not who I am. You are a visitor, not the owner of the house. 4. Compassion. You came to protect me in some way. Thank you for your intention, but I don't need your help right now. 2 trees faced the same violent storm. One was rigid, unyielding. It fought every gust of wind with all its strength, determined not to bend. The other was flexible, bending with the wind, dancing with the storm. When dawn broke, the rigid tree was broken, shattered by its own effort to resist. The flexible one remained standing, stronger than before, its roots deepened by experience. Be like the second tree. Accept life's storms without breaking, without hardening your heart. Bend when necessary, but keep your roots firm in inner peace. Herein lies the most beautiful paradox of existence. When you stop fighting life, you can finally live it fully. When you accept what you cannot change, you find the energy to transform what you can. Radical acceptance isn't passivity. It's the wisdom of choosing your battles. It's recognizing that some wars exist only in your mind. Now, I'm going to guide you through the most transformative meditation there is, the conscious contemplation of death. Not to scare you, but to completely free you from the illusion that you have infinite time.
Don't worry. We won't talk about death in a morbid way. We'll use awareness of mortality as the most powerful tool to value life, to awaken from the dream of eternal posterity. If you knew you had exactly 30 days to live, what would change in your life today? Not a week from now, not next month, right now. Pause for a moment and answer with complete honesty. This answer reveals what truly matters to you, beyond all the superficial concerns that drain your energy daily. Let's do together a practice that I've been doing for decades. Sit comfortably and close your eyes tenderly. Imagine your body in 10 years. How will it be different? In 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. Visualize each change without fear, only with loving scientific curiosity. Now, imagine the final moment of this body, not with sadness, but with deep acceptance. And realize something extraordinary. Where is the you in all this? The observer contemplating these changes. Does he age? Does he die? Or is he the timeless space where all experiences happen? When you truly contemplate death without romanticization or terror, something miraculous happens. You realize that it was never the body that ages, never the thoughts that pass, never the emotions that flow. You are the pure consciousness that observes all this. And this consciousness is neither born nor dies. It simply is, always was, always will be. A powerful king asked the wise man, "Tell me something that will make me humble when I am arrogant and courageous when I am afraid." The wise man wrote on a stone, "This too shall pass." When the king was at the height of his power, he would look at the stone and remember that his glory was temporary. It kept him humble and connected to his humanity. When he faced terrible defeats, he would look at the stone and remember that his pain was also temporary. It gave him the courage to carry on. Carry this wisdom with you. This too shall pass. Your current worry, it too will pass. Your current pain, it too will pass. Your prevailing fear, it too will pass. But also, your joy, your success, your moments of peace, they will also pass. Therefore, don't cling to either suffering or pleasure. Just dance with what is present, knowing that everything is temporary, everything is sacred, everything is part of the great flow of existence. Now is the time for the deepest revelation, discovering who you really are beyond all roles, concerns, and temporary identifications. Who are you when you're not worried? Who are you when you're not playing any social role? Who are you in the silent space between one thought and another? Your worries are like clouds passing through the sky of consciousness. When you identify with the clouds, you suffer with every mental weather change. When you realize you are the sky, you watch the clouds pass by undisturbed. The sky doesn't fight the clouds, doesn't judge them, doesn't try to control them. It simply hosts them with infinite space until they naturally dissolve, and it always remains pure, vast, and unchanged. Let's investigate this fundamental truth together. Close your eyes and ask your heart, who am I? The first answer might be your name, profession, relationships. But ask deeper. Who knows I have this name? Keep asking. Who is aware of my thoughts? Who observes my emotions? Who notices my worries arising and passing? Continue until you reach the pure observer, the one who sees everything but is unaffected by anything, the one who has always been there, silent, peaceful, complete. A precious diamond fell into a muddy swamp. For years, it lay covered in dirt, unrecognizable, seemingly lost. But the mud never penetrated the diamond, never altered its crystalline essence. When it was finally found and cleaned, it shone exactly as it before. pure, untouched, perfect, luminous. Your worries are like mud that temporarily obscures your natural shine, but they never touch your true nature. You always were and always will be the diamond of pure consciousness. When you know who you truly are, your worries don't disappear completely, but they lose their power to define you. They become like waves on the surface of the ocean, present but unable to disturb the silent depths. This is the ultimate freedom, not the absence of challenges, but the presence of an unshakable peace that no external circumstances can destroy. My dear friend, we have reached the end of our journey together, and it is time to reveal the secret I promised at the beginning. It is time to integrate all we have discovered into living wisdom. The secret isn't that you should stop worrying because life is temporary. The secret is that when you live with full awareness of impermanence, your worries transform into compassion, your fears become wisdom, and your anxiety becomes a sacred urgency to love. You don't have to eliminate worries. You need to turn them into fuel for a more authentic and meaningful life. A caterpillar lived in constant worry. How will I get to that high leaf? How will I protect myself from the birds? How will I survive the winter? Then came the moment of transformation. In the cocoon, all her caterpillar concerns became irrelevant. She didn't know she was preparing to fly, to completely transcend her previous limitations. When she emerged as a butterfly, she looked down and smiled. How could I care so much about leaves when I was destined for the heavens? You too are transforming. Your current concerns are those of a caterpillar, but you are destined to fly, destined to discover dimensions of being you never imagined existed. Now, I can't make this journey for you anymore. Real transformation happens in life, not just by watching videos. I need you to take concrete steps. Today, identify your biggest current concern and apply one of the practices I've shared. Feel the difference when you change your relationship with it. This week, practice the transformative question, is this really worth my suffering? Let it guide your choices. This month, live an entire day as if it were your last, not dramatically, but with full presence and deep gratitude. Notice how this changes your perspective. Before I say goodbye, look into my heart and answer honestly. Will you walk away from this video and fall back into the same old mindset? Or will you use these tools to transform your life? Will you continue to be a slave to your worries? Or will you become the master of your own mind? Will you live like an anxious caterpillar? Or will you discover the wings you've always had? If this message touched your heart, if you felt it was made especially for you, then you have a sacred responsibility, not to keep this wisdom to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear these words. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue this journey of awakening. Become part of this consciousness movement that is transforming the world one person at a time. Remember, every person who receives this message can become a light for others who still suffer in the darkness of unnecessary worry. Namaste. The light in me salutes the light in you.